Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Paris of Empress here, and another Blood Bowl Basics, and possibly the one I've been most looking forward to, because Dwarves really are my favourite team. And hopefully this video will explain why. So, the first thing you need to understand about Dwarves is that they are both quite simple and quite tricky at the same time. You are playing against other people, most likely only ever going to win 1-0. Just going to be upfront and honest with that. Your strategy with Dwarves is an 8-turn drive, like a full half of getting that ball into the opposing team's net, and then just shutting down their offense as brutally as Dwarves can. The strength of that is that they're fairly consistent. You give them 8 turns, they will score. The weakness, of course, is that, one mistake and you're playing for the draw, or, you play against a high-speed team and you can get, you need to be careful about how you score and when you score. They are well armored, they are strong, and we're going to see, because they're all strength 3 apart from the death roller, but you're going to see why they're strong in a minute. They are absolutely exhausting for your opponents. They just force your opponent to take so many risks. And in terms of just being able to lay down a good fight to anyone, I think Dwarves are possibly one of the best teams for this. Weaknesses, they are very slow, they are expensive, and don't take a death roller. Don't do it. Again, I'll explain why in a minute. But no, these guys are my favourite team, and they are fantastic. So there are 3 meaningful builds, and then there's a build to explain why you shouldn't take a death roll in your opening build. So this is the first build, and this is the build that I take, and have always taken, and will always take. I've taken this to World Championships, I've taken this to University Nationals, this is my go-to roster for a good 13-14 years of experience. So you can play differently, and there is definitely value in it. I'm quite stubborn, especially when it comes to the Dwarves Keck, because I have a playstyle and I feel that it is the best, but there are other ways you can play these guys, and one of the strengths of their team is that all of the players are great, which is why I've got all of them apart from the tractor. So 3 rerolls, you need 3 rerolls. They're so cheap. Look at that, 50k. Lovely. That is more expensive than any of your players after your first thing. So get the 3. Don't fuck about. Now we have 2 runners. So runners, they are movement 6, which is fast for a dwarf. They're agility 3, which is agile for a dwarf. But they are only armor value 8. Now, the great thing about all dwarves is that they have thick skull. So if you break my armor, only a 9 will knock them out, which shifts the value of like a 5 in 12 of being removed from the pitch to a 1 in 3 or whatever it is. Or 1 in 4, sorry. So that is quite significant. It's just so valuable. Dwarves always have it. They have access to passing in general. Passing's a bit of a joke. You're going to take block as your first skill with them. You just do every fucking time. Sure hands, so you reroll the dice if you fail to pick up the ball. That is so valuable. It's it means that you're never using your rerolls on the ball unless you hand it off for some mad reason. You know, you can use those for your blocking plays. I have 2 blitzers. I take them for the extra movement and the extra agility. It just gives me a bit of versatility. You know, you can play without blitzers. I like blitzers. I'm willing to spend the extra 20k for 2 of them just because movement 4 is depressing, man. Like, if you have these guys in your back line and you've got a guy running down your wings, they can actually reach. So they have block. Block is incredible. It means that when you get the both down result, so the skull and the explosion, you stay up. If your opponent doesn't have block, they're going to go down. This makes dwarves powerful for the reason that you're knocking them down in a 1 and 2 on a 1 dice block. Like, yes, these guys are only strength 3, but you can just go 1-on-1 with people. You have a 1 in 6 of going down. Your guys don't have loner, and you have a 1 in 2 chance of knocking them on their ass. Powerful odds, my friend. But I think they're probably like the ones I'm least enthused about. They're like, you know, the extra movement isn't necessarily the most exciting thing. And these guys I love. These are what make dwarves strong. What allows them to play chaos and orcs and just not give a fuck. Because yes, they're agility 2, but their movement value 5. Yes, their armor value 8, but their movement value 5, their strength 3, and they have dauntless. So what you do is you roll a dice and you add it to your strength. If it's equal to or lower than the opponent's strength, your strength 3. But if it's greater, then you boost your strength to that opponent when you make the block. So that means if you go up against Blackhawk or a Chaos Warrior, right? You go, oh, okay, well, I'm a Slayer, so I need 1 extra strength to beat you. So in order to go to strength 4 against a Blackhawk or a Chaos Warrior, I need 2+ worth. And like, I mean, you don't even need to reroll it if you don't want to. You can reroll it. And the difference between this 2+ dice roll and most other 2+ dice rolls is you don't have loner, so you can reroll it if you need to. And Frenzy. Frenzy is so good. Frenzy is incredible. Frenzy allows you to knock people off the pitch far more consistently. And you should be doing that. Like, I mean, don't worry about star player points. Get those fuckers off the pitch. It's just worth it. Troll Slayers are great. They should be called Blitzers. Because I put strip ball on these guys. It's horrifying. Because you push them on the first one and force them to drop the ball with strip ball, and then you push them again. So even if you don't knock them over, you've pushed that guy away from the ball. And that's fucking horrifying. Like, no one wants that. And you've got blocks, so you know you've got 1 and 2 of taking these fuckers down. With a level up, you take tackle. Even dodgers are going down 1 and 2. Fuck you elves. Fuck you goblins. Fuck you skinks. Fuck you halflings. You know. And then of course we have the mooks, who are possibly, in my opinion, one of the best basic troops in the game. Look at this shit. So, okay, they're movement 4. That's naff. But you're not moving these guys anyway. You are moving them just as far as you need to get them into base contact with another guy. Because, you know, you're going to win a fight. Strength 3, agility 2, they're not dodging away, so don't worry about that. Armor value 9, they have the armor of Saurus. Nice. Block. Yay! Thick skull. Yay! Here's the kicker. Tackle. Players who are standing in this player's tackle zone are not allowed to use their dodge skill if they dodge, nor may they use dodge if the player throws a block at them. That is insane that I can have my basic troops with it, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I put 3 long beards on the front line and 2 in the first one, that means the only place where there's going to be someone without tackle are my extreme wings. And really, like, one level up, and I'm giving tackle to my Blitzers. I'm probably giving it to my Troll Slayers after the first level up. You know, so I'm going to have a front line of tackle, which means that you're even goblins. Like, okay, you've got stunty, that's a 3+, but you don't get to reroll that because you can't use your dodge. Sure, you can use your team reroll, but like, are you going to risk that? For your insane goblin plays, I'm not sure you are. They make sure that teams like elves, that human catchers, things with dodge, like, can't like be that 1 in 6 to take down. They are so flexible at taking your opponents, from standing to on their face. What was the other thing I was going to say? So this is our first one, right? So I like this because it's versatile. It's got a bit of everything. One level up and I've got a full line of tackle. One level up, I've got really nasty strip ballers. I've got 2 ball carriers. Maybe I don't need 2, but I like the flexibility, and I'm going to show you that in the setup when I do that. Will be so. This is a bit more extreme, but it's totally something you can do. And you'll notice that, like, I'm not that much better off for doing this. So 2 runners and 9 longbeards. I mean, so it has less mobility, it hasn't got frenzy, it doesn't have dauntless, and I do consider those to be real sort of drawbacks. But at the same time, that's a solid list. That's going to get you through, and the advantage is I've started with an apothecary because your guys are expensive. And that can make all the difference in a dwarf team. One unlucky death, and you're fucked. So that is my second build. The apothecary is an interesting one. Do I think that compensates for the lack of troll slayers? I'm not sold. So build C. So no apothecary. 2 runners, 2 troll slayers, and then longbeards. This is a completely legitimate team. You've got movement 5 guys to take out their ball carriers and take out their big people, their big guys. You've got longbeards to protect your front line against dodgers. You've got your ball carriers. You've got your 3 rerolls. I like blitzers. I like having 4 agility 3 guys in my team. You can make surprising dodge blitzes, that you can't make with the other guys. But this is definitely viable. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing this at all. And for me, those are the 3 optimal plays. I do think you need 2 runners, as you're going to see in the setup. Just the movement 6, I like to have 2 to give me flexibility in picking up the ball. But you could have 1 less. You'd save 10k. You could take a blitzer instead. You could get 2 blitzers. You can have a run of 2 blitzers, 2 troll slayers, and then yeah, you could totally do that. You'd have 1 less longbeard, I think, but that'd be fine. And now this one, I'm going to show you why you don't take a death roller. So there he is, fucking tractor. Right. Death rollers are really cool, but they are really expensive. Okay, 160k. So in this build, I've got 11 players, which is going to be significant in a moment. 2 rerolls, which is shit. I've got a runner, only 1, and I've got 1 troll slayer. So I've really min-maxed here, to afford this. Everything else is longbeards. You could maybe swap out a Troll Slayer for another runner and a Blitzer, or 2 Blitzers. I don't think that's necessarily worth trade. So this guy, now he is stacked. So he's strength 7. He's one of the strongest players in the game. You know, he's on par with Fanatics, right? And he doesn't have the problem that Fanatics have, in which, you know, their movement is random. Movement 4. So he's like other dwarves. It's not bad. Can't really complain. Agility 1, but you're not going to dodge with this guy. Not when you have break tackle. So you can use your strength instead of your agility when you fail a dodge. And you can use it 1 to 10. So that's basically a 2+. So he can get 2 places, hilariously. And he's on value 10, so you're unlikely to lose him. Now, dirty player, so you can foul. I mean, it would be worth with this guy, I guess. He's going off anyway because he's a secret player, so that's not necessarily the worst thing. Juggernaut, if you take a blitz, people can't use fend, stand firm or wrestle. And you may choose to treat her both down as if an arrow pushback had been rolled instead. Because I don't think you block with this guy. Yeah, and blocks general, so you're very unlikely to ever get it, you know. So that just prevents you from going down. In the case of both down, that would be annoying. He does have Mighty Blow, which is brilliant. You can't manhandle the ball, which is sensible, because that would be unfair. And he can't be pushed around, unless they have Juggernaut. The 2 problems: he can't really use rerolls, and you only have 1 drive. 1 drive. Like, that for me is a deal breaker. I mean, look at this team, right? That means after your first drive you're down to 10 players, if you haven't taken any casualties or KOs. And you have 2 rerolls. Like, why would you do this to yourself? Why would you cause yourself this amount of pain? I'm not saying don't take a death roller, you could save up for it and get it later on. I never have. You know, this is a meme team. It's not like if you're looking, if you're playing bluntly to enjoy yourself in a way that, you know, doesn't involve you like struggling to get hold of the ball. Don't take a death roller. You know, but it's your choice as always. So, like, to give you an idea of how you might level up your team, this is my VSAI team. I got a bit experimental. So, what you would did that guy get like a double or something? Yeah, he did. That's why. Okay. So yeah, one of my guys got a double, so I got catch and then gave this guy pass, which you can get for a normal one. So is never steal passing? Yeah, it is. So you can largely ignore a lot of that because that was predicated on a double. But generally, with those 2 guys, you want to get block. A potential other double is sidestep, which is always nice. So, you know, or dodge. That's also true. I went a bit memey with these guys, but, like, you know, having a blocking dodging runner would be insane. Other than that, you could give them tackle. You could give them kick. You could give one of them kick. I tend to give it to a line dwarf, but actually thinking about it, I might just go back to putting it on a runner. The reason I put it on a Longbeard is because then in my defending drives I don't need both of my runners out. I can keep one, like if I've got more than 11 players, I can keep a runner off and not have to worry about protecting them. Because if they take down your runners, you really are sort of struggling, and they are your most vulnerable player, in my opinion. Blitzers. So first thing I get them is tackle. I gave this guy stand firm. A legitimate alternative would be Mighty Blow, but then I guess my argument would be why not Why not just make them long bids? Stand firm. The reason I like stand firm is because they're movement 5. These guys are probably going to be your side cages, or they're going to be members of your cage. Having stand firm is really nice defensively on your offense because they block you to try and make a hole to impact your cage and get onto your ball carrier. And instead of going back, he just falls over. So he just stays where he is. And it's even better, obviously, if they don't push you away. Sorry, if they just push you away, then you carry even less. So I like stand firm on them. These guys I take strip ball and then tackle. These guys are going to be in your back line for your defense. So tackle is less important on them. Strip ball basically just means that if they don't show hands and you push them in any sense, they'll drop the ball, which is horrible for a lot of teams because then they have to try and pick it back up. Now I've given these guys guard and then mighty blow, and I'll explain why. So guard means that you always give an assist to a block, even if there's another enemy, like an opponent marking it. Now, why do I like that on my long bids? Because I could take mighty blow first, and that's a legitimate thing to do, but I'd much rather build my ability to knock them over first and then develop their ability to injure their players, because inherently my guys are strength 3, and so when you come up against chaos or orcs or lizardmen, you're going to look for those abilities to get those 1 dice blocks off. Most of your opponents are not going to have block if they're strength 4, which means that if you're able to get a 1 dice block on them, in a straight up clean fight, you're going to win every time. Now, alternative things, you can take stand firm. That can be really good, like as a defensive option. Mighty blow is definitely worth doing. But what's the stats for this? So all of my, this is versus AI, but my average score is 2-0. I've inflicted 27 casualties, 13 games, 3 kills. So I'm causing 2 casualties per game at least. 188 injuries, that's like knockouts, stuns, all this sort of stuff. Oh no, that's not. Injuries is stuns then, I think. Yeah. 188 stuns, that's like, 188 armor breaks. So 13 into that, that's well over. It's like 14 a game. Not including, of course, the KOs. 916 blocks succeeded again. 130. Quick maths. 260. 40, something like that. Like 35, 40, per game. Something silly. No, double that. 70. Yeah. I've sustained 1 touchdown and 4 casualties. Yes, I'm playing AI, but it's indicative of a. It is indicative of a thing. To show you. These guys are obviously a little bit better than the basic starting team, but just to give you an idea of sort of what dwarves are capable of. Do I show you that one or that one? I'll show you this one. Kind of show you what they can do, and also go through some defensive stuff as well and some offensive stuff. Now against a person, you're going to go a lot slower than I do in this because you need to be a bit more careful about setting up your cage and your offense. But this is AI, so right. So this is my defensive setup. You've got longbeards, blitzers at the extremities, because again, well, these have tackle, but you know, you want them to be engaged as little as possible. Like you want your longbeards to take the hits for you. Troll slayers for your counter blitzes and runners at the back. I think so. This guy. Oh, that's a point. You should always have kick, because kick allows you to set up. Basically, it halves the scatter distance, so it takes from 6 to 3, which means you can put it a lot closer to the back of their board. And that obviously means that they have further to travel to score. Why am I starting from turn 6? That's really strange. Okay. Well, that's weird. But up until this point, that's what I've done to them. So this is where guard becomes really important. So this guy, because he's got guard, he's assisting both of these two, which means essentially they're going to get, I mean, in a minute I'm going to put a guy there, but they're going to get 2 dice blocks despite the fact that there are, you know, 3 people there. And I'm just going to, I mean, his team's weaker than I am anyway, but I'm just going to beat the shit out of him. So that's where frenzy can be quite good. Because it gives you multiple chances to take someone down. You should always hit them at a corner so that you can then like curve them around whoever is giving you the assist. You want to always position your blocks so that you're maximising the number of 2 dice blocks you get. I mean, he gets insanely unlucky as an AI, but I don't care. So with dwarves, strategically, I think it's always wise to kick the ball on the first turn if you get the chance. Yay! Kill the lineman. So the reason that you kick is because if you defend that first turn and it's 0-0, you know you're going to win 1-0. If they score, you potentially, depending on how quickly they score, you might have a chance to return. But also it sort of informs your game strategy for the second drive. Also, because dwarves are quite good at causing casualties, as you can see. Chances are you're going to outnumber them in the second half, which means that you're going to be more likely to have your drive at an advantage than in, you know, a. What's okay. Oh yeah. I think I did some silly passing plays. You should never do anything other than a quick pass with dwarves. Just, you know, so that we're real. If I was playing people, I wouldn't take pass on him. I would have taken like dodge or like sidestep or something. Another death. I think He apothecaries that guy there. You still get the star player points if they apothecary them successfully, but you know, it just means that their player doesn't die. So you'll notice I'm clustering all my dwarves so that I'm maximising the number of 2 dice blocks against them. I'm also trying to position them so that every single one of their players is engaged. Like with dwarves, they are a team that you can just line up and fight, which probably surprises the people I'm playing at the moment because I play very passive, you know, with my lizard men. Very passive game. I don't block, I don't fight, you know, I try to go for the score. Dwarves are very different. They want to fight, they want to beat the shit out of their opponents, you know. Like if by the end of your drive you're not stood over the, you know, half-beaten corpses of your opponents, you're doing dwarves wrong. Like look at that man. The exclamation mark means that he's been sent off because he was a secret weapon. Secret weapons at the end of the drive get sent off unless you bribe. So this guy's stealing my rerolls. Once you get to a certain once you get to a certain team value on AI, they just take it auto. So I'm going to show you, you know, a reasonable dwarf setup. This is probably a much more aggressive setup than you might always do. So I'm putting my troll slayers over here, and I put my blitzers over here. I want to set up my cage on the right side. So I'm going to set up my guys with the mind to direct the ball to my right side. So my right guy is further forwards. He has a movement of 6, so that means that he's able to get to the board edge. I'm going to use my other guy to pick up the ball and hand it off to him. Okay, so that's where you can change the skills on your runners slightly. So you can have, like, for example, you could go block as your first skill, and there's your second skill. You could go catch with one, and you could go kick with the other. I go kick with my long beards, but like you could totally do that. Now I've got quick snap, which allows me to move all my guys, which is quite fortunate. But yeah, so, you know, guard obviously helps me get those 2 dice blocks, so I'm just going to wail on them. And once you get guard and a few dwarves, like it's game over for a lot of your opponents. You know, I see toughest matchups, so like elves, when they use the elven defences, you need to basically save up money to buy wizards to punch through their lines. Because they're going to score on you. But you've got to be able to score back. So I changed my strategy up a bit just because of the way the place that it lands. And this is me setting up a cage. So I've talked about cages a few times. A cage is when the corner squares adjacent to your ball carrier are covered. This offers you maximum protection against enemy blitzers. I say blitzers as if that's plural. They're not. Yeah, just cover those players. You know, that gives you an idea of sort of like a defensive setup and an offensive setup. So we'll do this drive, and then we'll finish with the video. But so yeah, why do I like dwarves? Well, they hit hard, they are consistent, they are skilled. Why might you not like them? They, I guess, are very repetitive. They are not particularly inspiring in terms of their ball play, and the fact that they're strength 3 and you rely a lot on positioning and planning, you know, does make them quite a high skill team to use effectively, in my opinion. You know, it's much easier, I think, much more accessible to play an orc team, maybe even an elf team, because you don't necessarily need to think in the same way as you might have to with a dwarf team. Obviously, here I'm just creating a nice set of barriers here so that I can run my runner down the right hand side. I assume I'm going down the right hand side. Yeah. I've got a demi cage here. I don't really need a full cage. Yeah. I risk a go for it just to give him a bit of rear protection. But that's judgment based on how far they can move. It's quite difficult for these guys to get round, so you know. They've got all my dwarves to contend with, so like people will make insane go for it sort of thing. You sort of have to factor that in. And if your guy, you know, if they get lucky, they get lucky. But statistically, you know, this is a good move. At some point with dwarves, you do need to sort of bite the bullet and make the decision to just go for it. You need to take advantage of that path and hope that you can muscle your way through it. As always, these are AIs, so I'm fairly confident I can muscle my way through it. But you know, so yeah, I'm just going to go to town. I'm trying to free this guy up because I'm probably going to move him here and blitz, I would assume. Yeah, just, you know, he's the closest threat to my my ball carrier. You'll notice because I've got tackle, any players with dodge are going down when I do that. It's really good that he's stunned. So I'll block the shit out of these guys. I can afford to take one nice block here. Poof. So you can see with, like, you know, a skilled up team, you can really cause some pain. You know, dwarves have served me well in my lifetime as a Blood Bowl player. Oh, coach. That's fine. So, always be mindful of how you blitz. So I could blitz with my ball carrier, but it's far less risky for me to blitz with another player. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, I only need to push. Am I going to do anything else? Yeah. I'm already 2-0 up. Scoring's not the most important thing. There's another injury. I think over the 2 games I caused like 13, because in the Chaos Cup final you have to play the same team twice. So this poor team, in the first game I caused 7 casualties, and I think in this one I caused like 6, and 2 of them were deaths. And you know, like dwarves don't cause lots of casualties because they are particularly strong in terms of their base strength, or because they have mighty blow. They cause lots of casualties because of the sheer number of hits they dish out. So I think we can end there because yeah, just look at that, like dead and injured 5, like. So I end up winning that 4-0, which for a dwarf is insane. In real games, you'll you'll win 1-0, or you'll draw, you know. And that's how it is. Yeah, 81 to 20 blocks. The other game. $98 to 14. You know. It's just insane. Like, most games average like 50-ish blocks succeeded for the dominant team. When dwarves get going, they just get going, and they will just knock you on your ass repeatedly. Now, hopefully, that's got you a little bit excited about dwarves. I do think they're one of the strongest teams in the game. If you can play them right, I would recommend, if you want to win, consistently that this is, in my opinion, the strongest build. Like I said, I've used it for a long time and it's always served me wonderfully. And like everyone's got a role, even the Blitzers. You know, you can't use Longbeards as, you know, cage setup as effectively as Blitzers because they don't have the speed. You want to be moving 5 a turn in order to score in 8 turns rather than 4. And there you have it. So hope you enjoyed that. Tatty buys.